Welcome to iCare Cancer Research Link. I am Dr. Falakemi Odedino, your scientific host for this exciting program, which provides a direct link to prostate cancer research discoveries. Our unique strategy is to address the prostate cancer disparities experienced by Black men globally by providing access to life changing scientific discoveries, especially those with implications for primary and secondary preventions. We also aim to be able to inform our viewers about access to prostate cancer clinical trials that are in line with the approaches of being able to address health disparities. The way that we do this is by focusing on scientific discoveries that has impact for Black men's health. I am excited to bring in a guest for today. Our guest today is Dr. Okoyemi Bolajoko. Welcome to iCare Cancer Research Link, Dr. Bolajoko.
Well, thank you, Dr. Dedino. I'm really excited about this, and I want to thank you for bringing me to this program.
Okay, great. So we want to actually start by getting to know you a little bit. So can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, I am Okwebola Joko. I am um, an early stage investigator with I Care for Black Men Consortium. I work here. I work in Jacksonville. That's Mayo Clinic, Jacksonville, in Dr. Dedino's lab. That's Cancer Health Equity Research Program. I'm a research associate and a co-investigator in the lab. We are very excited to do what we do in our community.
Okay, great. So before we get started and go into your line of research and to the scientific discovery that you want to talk about today, I'd like to ask our scientists to further introduce themselves to our viewers by either sharing the talent. So I don't know whether you can sing, dance, whatever it is, or by sharing a fun fact about yourself. Which of those are you going to do?
I would like to share a fun fact, maybe
Okay, go
about
ahead.
myself. Yes, because I'm a very honestly happy person. I love singing a lot, and I think basically I love singing. I listen to a lot of music, and I sing a lot. I like to. Sometimes I have opportunity to write songs, and they can be very funny sometimes. But really, I love singing.
Oh, I didn't know that you could write songs. So why haven't you written any songs for IKEA?
We leave that to those people that uh that we commit that to, since I'm an early stage investigator. But I like the I care songs. I love them. I sing them, and
Okay.
it's really cool. I really love I listen to a lot of songs, a whole lot
Okay,
of
great.
songs.
We might have to tap you to sing to develop and help us sing the Captaincy 20th anniversary song.
I
So,
will happily do that.
okay, good. Then you are in charge of the Captaincy 20th anniversary song, and it has to be a gospel song. Okay, great. Everybody that has come to this program, I'm always giving them something to do. So, so write it down. Now you have something to do. But talk to us more about your role in IKEA.
Yeah, in iCare, I have the privilege of being an early stage investigator. This is, for me, it's an awesome privilege where you have opportunity to grow with the program and you have access to huge resources. I say huge because there's a lot of infrastructures that is not really just limited to a particular institution. There's is a multi-institutional consortium, and so as an early stage investigator, I have access to the professors, seasoned professors, investigators, clinicians, and even access to research coordinators and also funding, which is very cool, and the community as well. Sometimes just listening to seniors talking, designing studies and methodologies is so exciting. It's an honestly awesome privilege.
You are making it sound as if IKEA is a candy land. Is it a candy land? It sounds like.
Oh no, not necessarily a candy land, but really it provides a huge resource, honestly, to younger investigator. That is, I believe, even, I care, as in my understanding or the way I see it, there's just a lot of opportunity for younger people at every level, even at pre-doc level, to grow and have access to something to help your career, help in grant writing, help in manuscripts, help in design. So it's just, I believe it's not like it's a candy, like it's just designed to help young investigator and really prepare the resource persons for tomorrow's research.
That sounds wonderful. So, which cancer research are you discussing with us today?
Yeah, today I want to talk about decentralized trial and caregivers. I mean, cancer family caregivers and decentralized trial. These are decentralized trial is an amazing tweak to the normal clinical trials. Like, okay, let's take the research to people's home, let's take it to the community, and then we also have this other side of those people that kind of sometimes they don't really have a face in research, and research really primarily lean on them, even care lean on them, especially when you're looking at home front or in the community where we need more hands, more workforce that may not be the nurse, may not be the research coordinator, may not be the clinician. And so it's important to really find a way to um, manage this nexus and
Yeah.
ensure that it's not stressful.
So, why did you decide to focus on this area of research?
Yeah, I decided to focus in this area of research. That is number one, maybe because of my background. I'm a nutritionist, and in my PhD, I work on work stress.
Hmm.
And I know that caring for patients can really be very stressful. At that time, I considered um, health workers working with patients. And then I also had the privilege of seeing my dad passed, though
Hmm.
not with cancer, but my mom was the primary caregiver and the family caregiver. And I saw how patients can be dependent
Hmm.
on the caregiver, and the care is for the patient, not the caregiver. And it
Yes.
can be really stressful. And I've really had opportunity to have family friends who are diagnosed with cancer.
Hmm.
My mom was a caregiver for her sister who was
Hmm.
diagnosed with breast cancer. And when
Hmm.
you look at this, there's a lot of stress going on with the caregiver, but the care is for the patient. And
Yeah.
then somehow that nexus, there's just a gap right there that we're not really talking about so much. And we
Hmm.
still keep telling people, I mean, they just need to also have some kind of focus, at least to improve health outcomes. And I also had the privilege, I hope you're permitting me to mention it, to see one of our MPIs who is a prostate cancer survivor and
Hmm.
had really leaned on his wife, who is
Hmm.
the primary caregiver. And now the wife also was sick at the time,
Hmm.
and he now became the caregiver himself. And he was like, wow, he never
Yeah.
knew that she was going through that lot of stress.
Hmm.
He was really surprised that it was really stressful caring for his wife, who is now the patient. And now he, who had all the attention, now became the caregiver.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
From care recipient to being a caregiver. Now, all of a sudden, you're aware of all the issues that the caregiver does.
caregiver. Yes.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned that because that brings me to a question. I took a look at the co-authors on the paper that you are sharing with us today, the scientific discoveries, and there are two people that I know your traditional scientists, Mr. and Mrs. Merriweather. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you decided to include them in the publication?
It's real. I'm very excited to include them because these are I will call them amazing investigators in the community. And Mr. Merriweather, like is a cancer survivor, a prostate cancer survivor, and his wife has been his caregiver. So, actually, this paper was part of the things that working with them and some of the questions that came up when Mr. Merriweather himself became the caregiver. And
Yeah.
then we started talking about caregiving. So really, they were honestly the inspiration behind this, and they provided on an honest view and concept and perspective that
Mm,
we thought that it's important to put this together to ensure that we start looking in that, I mean, in this angle, to also create something for the caregivers, so that we're not only taking care of the patient, but we also take care of the caregivers, not because they are sick. Sometimes they
mhm.
may have some health issues as well, but really to reduce stress and also ensure that we maximize their time, their resources, and improve quality of life of both the caregiver and then health outcome of our
Yeah.
patients. So
You
they were
actually
really,
mentioned something that is very important. You mentioned the idea that they actually contributed to you thinking about this line of work and the research, and this
yeah.
is in this true spirit of community engagement research. Can you talk a little bit about how you are using the principles of community engagement research, how you've used it for this research that you have done?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Dedino. I have learned that research should start with the communities at the table, the community members at the table. And so, at the point of thinking about what I want to do, the line of research I would like to pursue, working with them and receiving insight. What is the problem? What is the need? Now we have a lot of stuff going on. For example, iCCaRE is huge, and we have a lot of other studies on prostate cancer. Where is the gap?
Mm,
Where is this other thing that we're not talking about? And that is where the caregiver came up, the issue of caregiver. And I've been to some of our American Legion posts,
mm,
and the question is, wow, you have things for the men, the prostate cancer survivor. What about the people taking care of them? We've
mhm,
had this need reiterated over and over again, that
mm.
there's need to also talk about the people taking care of cancer survivors or cancer patients.
Mm, that is really it's really very key. So we like to share the behind the scenes of how the research that you are presenting, how you actually did it. So could you tell us a little bit? Was this a review research? Was this a perspective research? What kind of research was it? And I know that it was very rigorous when you did it as well. So tell us a little bit about the background about this research.
Thank you so much. This is actually a perspective. This is like kind of, we're trying to, like I said, we're trying to find out what is the need in the community. What research need does the community have? And so
Mm,
what we did was to first of all ask. We actually went to the American Legion Post and asked questions. We had series of events, we had town halls, and in each of these events, one of the things that are coming up was the issue of the fact that caregivers are left out in
mm,
our initiatives. We have initiative, a really great initiative for the patient, for survivors, even for men. But what about their children, taking care of them? What about their wife? What about their siblings, their
mhm.
brothers, their uncles that are around taking care of them?
Yeah.
And we, in our research, we look at meeting people where they are. So
Yes.
when we say we want to meet people where they are, decentralizing trials and clinical studies, who will be the data collect, who is collecting the data, who is taking the samples, who is doing this and that, in addition to the primary care in the family. So that's actually the behind the scene. That's in this conversation with our community partners at different events and in different studies, recruitment at events. So these are actually where we gather some of these thoughts and got their ideas, what they believe, where they think the problem would be when we talk about decentralizing. So who we collect the data. When we
Mhm.
say decentralizing, that means care at home. That means there should be internet. What about people that don't have internet
Yes.
or a
What do you
device? And
Yes.
things like that. How do we do this? If you want us to see the doctor online, we don't
Mhm,
have a phone or we don't have a very good Wi-Fi, and things like
mhm.
that. So some of these questions, some of these queries came really from the community. And of course, we also had some literatures we had literature where some of all these issues were also highlighted. So that is how we came about this perspective, putting it together as a perspective. And so the manuscript was actually published as a commentary in
Yes.
cancer
Yes.
control.
So, what are some of the key takeaways from it?
The key takeaways really in this perspective is that while we encourage decentralizing clinical trials, we need our investigators and the research team to remember and really make provision for
Mm,
caregivers, not only the patient, so and also to ensure that they are well equipped
mm,
in such a way that whatever the study protocol is, it will not add to the stress of caring for the patient
mm.
at home, and also because apart from caring for the patient, we still have normal domestic responsibilities and running of the house. So
Mhm.
we want to make sure that we design a study that does not add to the stress of caregiver,
Yes.
that provide the tools that are necessary for the
Mhm.
success and reduce the stress of patients and the caregivers who will really become part of the research team or healthcare team at in this instance.
Yeah, that is very critical. So that is sort of some of the takeaways that we have for the scientists and the clinicians. Is there anything that the caregivers can do to champion themselves or to be able to be empowered? That will be the one or two to three impact statements that they can take away from the study.
Yeah, one of the
From this
things they can
commentary, right?
take away from this study is to be courageous, to make sure that as
Mm,
some of this they are asked to do, they ask a lot of questions, and let the investigator know
mm,
what they can do to help them. It's easy for us to just say yes to
mm.
everything, but it is important that the caregivers are advocate for themselves and
Yeah.
also help the investigator understand how this care at home or research
Mhm,
decentralized trials can
mhm.
work better at home. Because the truth is, if, like I just said, some of these ideas we got them from the community and they are forming a huge part of our research design, investigators will benefit from their contribution and their
Yes.
honest feedback, so that some of these studies will be successful, and
Mhm,
it will also reduce, it will not add to the stress of taking
mhm.
care of their loved ones.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. What is the next steps? What do you what are you going to build on this current commentary that you have?
Yes, right now we're already piloting a study on caregivers, understanding the perspective, their experiences, the experiences of caregivers of patients with prostate cancer or
Mhm,
survivors of prostate cancer. So we're already working on, especially among Black men,
mm,
understanding the experiences, their interpersonal experiences, how it affects care
mhm, mm,
and what they have done, and to
mm.
know where the gap is and how research or program or health promotion program can fill this gap. This study is actually ongoing, although we're still working with the IRB for approval. That is actually the next step, because in the end we really want to be able to create a model that
Yes.
work, so that
Mhm,
investigators can work with this model, and even community PIs or community investigators, community scientists can also work with this model, so as to improve our health outcome, and also ensure that our protocol are community responsive or family responsive, and
mm.
it's not just, it's not skewed to one side, and we have a very rich data. So really I believe that it's going to be an awesome journey, working with caregiver, understanding their experience, creating this model, creating or suggesting interventions that might help improve health outcome, especially with men that have been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Yeah, this is just, I'm so excited to hear about the next steps that you are going to do this
Yeah.
research that is focused on this area. and you're moving forward with that. But this is really a great opportunity to tell your audience who may end up being your participants, right? So, what is the inclusion and exclusion criteria for this study that you're doing? Who are you looking at recruiting? If they are interested, we can have them contact the iCare team so that they know when the study is ready to launch.
Yeah, this is a very interesting study, and we have ensured, because one of the things we're trying to do is not to disenfranchise people that might be interested in research. This is a minimal risk study, and so inclusion is that if you're an adult that's 18 and not more than 70 years old, we have three phases of the study. So the first phase, we're looking at caregivers who had really who are family caregivers of prostate cancer patients for at
Okay.
least 6 months. That
Mhm.
is the first and second phase of the study. Then the third phase of the study, where we have already developed the intervention, that would be for caregivers who they can be new, but at least they should have about 30 days. They should identify as caregiver of any gender. So it's
Mhm.
not, caregiving is really not gender specific. It can
Mhm.
be any gender. So, but it's that age. We want it to be adult. We want them to also be able to speak English at this time. But
Mhm.
if they would need assistance, that would be figured out. But really, we made it very liberal enough so that we can get the perspective, the honest perspective of our population.
Yeah, this is very exciting. So this is a chance. Which can it be anywhere in the
Yes,
United States
it can
or
be it can be anywhere in the United States. This particular one, since we're beginning this work, we want to start in the United States, and we look forward to when we have this, then we can now think of how to take this further outside the United States.
this is the beauty of decentralization of research, right? You can have this study to be done anywhere
Yes,
in the
see, that's
United
why
States.
it's so cool to have decentralized trial. We just need to know that we have all the tools that we need and get some of no decentralizing study means you can collect your data anywhere. And we just want to make sure that the respondents are also equipped. They have the tools necessary to be successful and participate easily without stress.
Yeah, and from my understanding, this is not only limited to Black individuals, anybody,
No, 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 this
no,
is not.
no race or ethnicity criteria, anybody can take care of, can be
Yes,
part of the study. And we are going to put the number to for iCare on the screen so that you can contact one of our team members in iCare. And if you are interested in learning more about Dr. Bolajoko's study, and she can get back to you. And once she starts enrolling, she can see whether you are eligible to participate in our study. This is actually very nice. What a really great next step to your commentary. This is the beauty of doing research from one
yeah.
step to the other step, and it's really going to be great. Is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers at this time?
What I'm very excited to share about is the fact that we need to all be part of research and clinical trials, because our voices need to be heard in research, not only in politics, but in research, because some of these data are important in making decisions about our health, about policies, and things that affect all of us. So I want to encourage our viewers to encourage people to be part of research. And of
Thank
course, our investigators must make research very simple.
Absolutely. Very simple, very inclusive, decentralized, so that the research can get to people anywhere, anyhow, anytime. Thank you so much. Thanks, Dr. Bolajoko, for such an engaging dialogue. Thanks for joining us on the iCare Cancer Research Link. The key discovery today is Dr. Bolajoko talking about this idea of making sure that caregivers are considered in the research that we do, especially if the research is going to be decentralized, to make sure that the caregivers have the appropriate resources and have interventional programs that is going to help them to be part of
Yeah.
this research. So remember, our viewers, the best evidence for cancer care, we are your direct links for cancer care to cancer research discoveries. I am Dr. Fulakemi Odedino. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, bye.
Bye. Thank you.